Well, good morning. It is I'm going to say a nice April morning, early April, because we've been having some really terrible weather here. It has felt like winter has hung on this year forever. It would get up into the 50s or a little bit sunny, and the snow and ice would come again. There's been some terrible ice storms up north of us. People are displaced from their homes. Power crews are up there nonstop. And it's April. It's not uncommon that we get a little freezing cold or temperatures this time of year, but to get the snow and the ice, and it just keeps coming like one storm every week. But today we are heading down to Barrett Boat Works in Grand Haven, and we are going on a sea trial with Andromeda. This winter we had 2 new turbos installed, 2 new exhaust manifolds installed, and a whole list of other work. But today we're meeting our surveyor, Nick, our old friend Ed Hislop, Mike, the tech from Barrett's, Charlie, the service manager, Ben, who's always been a big help on working on our boat from Barrett. And we're gonna go on a sea trial. Also, Cummins Manufacturing is coming early this morning to do the 1,000-hour service, where they'll adjust all the valve lash. And while we're on the sea trial, they're going to hook up their computer to Andromeda's ECM to make sure that the loading on the reconditioned props is right and that the boat's computer is functioning as it should. So it's a big day for Andromeda. We're going to get her in the water and get her whipped into shape and get a clean bill of health. One of the things we're a little worried about or a little anxious about on our drive down is late last night, Barrett Boat Works called me, Charlie, the service manager, and said that the captain who was moving the boat into the slip noticed a bad vibration on the starboard side. So early this morning, they were going to pull Andromeda out just to see if there was something on the prop or the prop wasn't seated correctly. And I have yet to hear from Barrett's on what they found. So anyway, we're about to hop in the car, make the hour and a half drive south, and see how the day unfolds. But we're excited to get Andromeda back in the water. I have to pick Kathy up in town on my way south. She's getting her car worked on, and I just got a Nebo alert on my phone that Andromeda was moving. So they are down in Grand Haven just now pulling Andromeda out of the water. So I'm sort of slow rolling it before I head all the way down there to see if there's a big problem or if it's something they're going to be able to fix. So I just got the alert. You can kind of see behind me, it's not the best day for a sea trial, but that's what we get here in early April. So we'll see what Barrett's has to say when they call me.
To John, they looked at the prop and put it back in the water. They moved it over here. John didn't think it was vibrating very bad, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Okay.
We got an oil leak at the port turbo drain, I think. So we have to see how much that leaks and whether that's going to hold us back or not.
Okay. I'm going to go check in with them and then we'll come back down.
Okay. He's got the port side down. He's working on the starboard side. That's a lot easier than the port side.
Okay. All right. We'll be right back.
All right, cool. Thanks.
Thank you.
We just got down here and Andromeda's sitting in the water, and that is a nice thing to see. It's just that time of year where the snow's melting. We saw daffodils on the way down and the boat's in the water. Good news is we just sort of checked in with Ed and Charlie in service, and they said they took the boat out again this morning and there was not a vibration. There's a little vibration at low idle, There kind of always has been. I just don't think Andromeda likes being in low idle. But there was a guy down working in the engine room, John from Cummins, while they moved the boat, and John down in the engine room, he said there was nothing, no vibration. So we don't know if it was maybe a little bit of an overreaction or something, which we appreciate. But we're going to find out for sure here when we take the boat out. But that was kind of good news. They did pull it out and check the props, and they didn't find anything. So what did you think when we pulled in and saw her?
We were joking that we left the paddle boards on the bow.
We did.
So they're all like hoopty looking.
We must not have completed our winter list 100%,
right. But no, it's nice to see, obviously turn the corner and see her in the water. And
yeah.
Yeah.
Nice to see her in the water, and hopefully the rest of today goes well and she gets a clean bill of health and we can make a plan to bring her home.
Right.
You can see the new boot stripe down there on the water. That looks good. I also did the bottom paint just up to what they call the smile line, because the bottom paint we did in Orange Beach still looked good, but we wanted to look fresh down at the water line. That's the bow repair. You can't see it, thank goodness, but that is where the chain hook snapped in the Bahamas and took a chunk out of the bow. But you can see it's all shined up. Repair is done. That's what I've heard about you as well.
Those are just rumors.
Well, they say a lot of other stuff too.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
So are the valves typical of what you see? They're pretty,
Yeah.
not too far out, not too far.
No, but there was a couple on the other side that I did readjust because they were tight. And it's not uncommon for a few of them to tighten up. Are you over 1,000 hours? Right at 1,000?
Yeah, about 1,100.
Yeah, they're typical for that hours on them. Problem is on that side, you can't get your head across there. I couldn't get the tube out. It was just, that job's just terrible. It took twice as long as what it should have.
The more time I spend on and around boats, I'd like to get a hold of some of these engine room designers. And
You too, huh? We'll stay in line.
do we readjust the valves every 1,000 hours or just the first time?
Oh, I don't know. I don't have any other M11s out there with 2,000 on them yet. So,
Oh, I got you.
I don't know if they'll change much.
It's sort of a break-in thing.
Well, yeah, kinda. They just beat themselves in on the seats a little bit. The valves do, and the trucks we adjusted them every once in a while.
Yeah.
When this was our mid-sized truck engine for a long time, and I don't remember too many of them. Only resetting once and then leaving them go. Anytime the truck would come in, we'd pull the valve cover and set them.
Yeah.
You have to do that on this. I want to say no.
Yeah.
But we won't know until you probably get another 1,000 hours on it. You just say, let's pull the valve cover and put a feeler gauge on them and check them.
Yeah. Maybe that after that 1,000 hours, you show me how to do it.
Probably won't be me.
So again, it was bulk charging. I'm wondering if the screen, if you peek your head in the salon and look right above the couch, there's a Meritron screen. I'm wondering what the charge is, because it was like 61. I bet if you peek in there, it's 7 or something, it went down.
Sure.
But that's it.
What do you do for your starboard corner, Bob? We taking that off the cleat on the dock or off the cleat on the boat?
However you guys want to do it. Leave it up to Kathy, she's in charge. Looking at a stern on a pole here still.
It's standing right there holding it, so.
Ready to go? Oh,
Go.
yeah.
Kathy, go.
Yep, you're free.
All right, Ed, we're leaving. Now it's overprop.
Sure.
Now you put 10 people on board and more beer and they want to go fast and the poor motor's going, I'm done trying to carry this load.
Yeah.
Now it's overprop.
Sure.
Now you put 10 people on board and more beer and they want to go fast and the poor motor's going, I'm done trying to carry this load.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to talk customers in this, detune them, because nobody runs wide open throttle with this. Now my boat, yeah, I do.
Yep.
These guys don't. Detune them a little bit, let them spin. There's less load on the motor. I didn't want to see the 100, but it was bouncing 100, but it was kind of hard to tell. We were bouncing from 90 to 100.
Sure.
Usually it's a little more consistent if it's not quite so bumpy. And 90, 92, 93, 94%. Yeah, when it's 100 plus,
Sure.
that's what tears manifolds and turbos up. It's 100 plus.
Sure.
That's what tears manifolds and turbos up.
The QSM marine engine uses what is called a dry exhaust system. This means that the exhaust manifold and the turbocharger do not circulate coolant through the components for cooling purposes. Rather, the dry components are covered with heat shields. There is a debate in marine diesel circles whether this is a good design or a bad design. But to understand how Andromeda's manifolds and turbos failed, we need to understand something called loading. Loading, in its simplest terms, is a measure of how hard a propeller works to push the boat through the water. A major factor in the load on any propeller is the pitch of the propeller. The propeller pitch is the angle of the propeller blades, and this determines how much water they bite with each rotation. A higher pitch increases the load on the engine, while a lower pitch decreases the load on the engine. We have been informed now by many diesel mechanics, Cummins technicians, surveyors, suppliers, etc., that it is very common in the marine industry for production boat manufacturers to quote-unquote overprop boats during production to be able to market higher boat speeds and sell more boats. Of course, we could not get Cummins or Sea Ray to officially admit this, but nevertheless, Andromeda's props were sent out of the factory with an aggressive pitch for higher speeds. This created higher loading at certain RPMs than what her dry exhaust system was designed to handle. The worst performance band for loading with the factory overpitched props is between 1800 and 2000 RPMs. Independent studies have found that this can create too much heat and nowhere for it to go. In a dark engine room with the heat shields removed, you can actually see manifolds and turbos glowing at these RPMs. For a lot of our 6,000 nautical mile journey, we ran at 1860 RPM. We thought this was Andromeda's sweet spot. She sounded great and ran great and sliced through the water so smooth while getting us about 22 knots. Day after day, this is the cruising RPM we would use. While at this RPM, all of the data at the helm told us Andromeda was happy. Our engines were happy, great pressures, great voltages, and pretty good fuel burn for how fast we were moving. And most importantly, we were seeing great temperatures on the gauges, and that was the problem. The temperature gauge was showing good numbers because the temperature gauge measures the coolant temp, not the engine temp or the exhaust temp or the turbo temp. It only measures the temperature of the engine coolant. Remember, the engine coolant does not run through the manifold or turbos on a dry exhaust system. So as we cruised along on our loop with Andromeda sounding great, running great, and our gauges all reading great, we were slowly burning up our manifolds and our turbos with no way to know, until they finally failed. Now we have installed 2 new exhaust manifolds and 2 new turbos. We also had our props retuned, and they removed a couple inches of pitch and a couple inches of cup to reduce the loading on the engines. That is what John from Cummins is doing today with his laptop. He is checking the loading on Andromeda's engines at different RPMs to see if our newly detuned props have reduced the loading on the engines and are allowing the engines to spin more freely and run cooler. Side note, because we always get asked this. Yes, this repair was expensive, and yes, under the advice of many professionals, including our insurance agent, we did make an insurance claim stating manufacturer defect. More on that later, but it is safe to say when 2 large manufacturing corporations don't play nice with each other, and neither will admit to any wrongdoing, the consumer is never going to win. we are done with the sea trial today. It was quite a long day. I think we've been here 6 hours or something.
Yeah.
Spent a few hours out on Lake Michigan. It was kind of bumpy today, but
It was cold.
yeah, pretty good sea trial. She ran great. She's in good shape. There's a few little tweaks. That's part of the shakedown crew, but you can see behind us, it's cold and windy,
Great.
so we're gonna go get warmed up, but it felt great to be on the boat today.
Yes, it did.
Everything went really good. We have a couple outstanding issues. There was a water leak in one of the cooler tubes, which is no big deal. It's just a gasket. We have quite a vibration now in the starboard side. When we put the boat in gear at idle, port goes into gear real smooth. Starboard at idle goes into gear. The boat shakes pretty good, but it kind of immediately goes away once the RPMs go up. We've checked the props. So we have Cummins coming to check some of the injectors and stuff and some of the programming. They're coming back. That's one thing. And then our giant Belmar alternator that charges the house batteries on the starboard engine ramps up and down. That's been a problem. If you've followed along, it's been a problem since Annapolis and still a problem. So we're going to have to dig into the house battery system a little bit. But all that's kind of minor stuff. The boot stripe, the repairs, all the engine and turbo repairs, everything couldn't run better. And the team down here has been great. Thank you to Ben. Thank you to Charlie. Thank you to Mike. Nick for our surveyor, Mike, the diesel tech and the mechanic here, and John, of course, Ed. John from Cummins, and of course Ed Hislop is just the man when it comes down to it. He just is a wealth of knowledge. He's great. So all in all, a good day. We're anxious to get her home, but looks like we got a few more days of getting some things worked out. So
which is kind of okay because it is cold.
It's kind of okay.
The lines are cold.
Yeah.
You're just now.
Our noses are running.
Yeah,
we're freezing, and I don't think we're ready to kind
Winter
of
coats and
run down here and run out on Lake Michigan for 4 hours in this weather. So
yeah, but surprisingly, there's a lot of boats that are already in the water here in Grand Haven. Ludington, there's nothing.
there's nothing. Yeah. So
Kind of surprising to see.
we'll let them do what they got to do and make plans to get her home soon. But that's all in all, it was a pretty good day.
Yeah, it was a good day. And she's running as good as she can be right now.
That's
She's
right.
trying.
She's trying.
I want to take a minute to send out a special thank you to our first Captain's Table patron, Tom M. Thank you so much for your support. We appreciate it more than you know. If you're enjoying our channel, please consider becoming a patron. Your support really does help us continue to bring you these great videos.